This will be really relatively short, but important and contemplative video. I ask the audience to take information given in this video with extreme caution. This is only for experienced practitioners, for people who practice those kinds of things for years, and this is not in any way, shape or form for beginners. So I channeled Nama for the purpose of helping one friend and occasional client of mine to reach controlled versions of near-death experience. And Nama gave short general instructions on how to do it. And I will here quote what Nama told me. This quote is obviously complex, and it is essentially not easy to understand. It seems easy to understand, but it isn't. Let me read the quote and then I will try to interpret it possibly. The quote goes as follows. In order to achieve death, you need to renounce joy. Food, water, carnality, and maniacal madness for 8 days. You need to contemplate with a chosen entity, with the purpose of reaching the absence of pleasure, with the purpose of reaching the death itself. So according to Nama, the death itself, as we heard here, is the absence of pleasure, and the near-death experience could be reached through absolute deprivation from all pleasures, together with contemplation on the chosen entity for 9 days. The entity in question doesn't have to be Nama, it can be anybody else. Now, I asked Nama regarding drinking water in those 9 days, and Nama told me that you can drink water for 9 days, but you should drink it only when you are really, really thirsty. So food is not allowed, carnality is not allowed. But when I say not allowed, I mean not allowed at all. And essentially you should dedicate 9 days to calling your chosen entity with the purpose of reaching that near-death experience non-stop. So this is something which is extremely risky and dangerous for people to do, obviously. So I don't advise people to do this, especially not beginners. But because one of my friends requested this, I kinda decided to put this in a public video. So he and all people interested can check this out. But I need to give a disclaimer that I am not responsible for any fucked up shit which happens to you if you do this too early when you are not prepared. And let me read the quote of Nama once again. In order to reach death, you need to renounce joy, food, water, and carnality, with maniacal madness for 9 days. You need to contemplate with the chosen entity, with the purpose of reaching the absence of pleasure, with the purpose of reaching the death itself in the complete darkness. What is meant by the complete darkness here isn't certain. Maybe she referred to physical darkness, maybe she referred to spiritual darkness. I mean, because this is a formula you can use with any spirit, that she probably didn't meant spiritual darkness, because this can be tried with light entities too. But this is really risky, so you need years of practice for this. What make this actually work is the only way for you to make this work. I tried similar fasts in the past. Not 9 days long, but definitely 6 to 7 days long. And what makes those fasts really induce a spiritual experience is not a fasting itself. It is constant focus upon the chosen spirit, and constant calling of the chosen spirit, and constant invocation of the chosen spirit, and constant contemplation on the chosen spirit, depending on your preferences of working with the entity. So, essentially, when you don't eat and don't drink and don't do any form of erotic sexual activity for 9 days, you naturally fall into trance because body becomes exhausted, and because you constantly call the entity and contemplate upon the entity for 9 days in physical darkness, in such a state of mind, the entity connects clearly with you, and the entity induces death, near death spiritual experience, which is goal of this operation essentially. This is not something you do for a practical magic. This is something you do for mystical purposes. Talk to you soon and see you later.